Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Microeconomics at Ozarka College. This morning what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of feedback on the chapters 3 and 4 activities that I finished grading earlier this week. And then I need to tell you what we've got coming up due for chapters 5 and 6 next week. Okay? So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 3 and 4 activities earlier this week. Most of you did well on those activities. There were a few things that some of you struggled with, like some of the textbook problems, and because of that, I did add a video to the announcements page and also added it to the activities page that kind of explains how you would go about calculating for example, the surplus and shortage that you had to do on one of the problems, and so forth. And so if you had difficulties with the problems on the assignment, I would like you to watch the video here. Even if you got all the points, if you did well on the problems, it would still probably be beneficial to watch the review video here, because I'll show you exactly how the steps that you would go through to calculate those particular problems. And some of you may have gotten the correct answers, but you may not have done all the steps correctly. So this might, I would say this will definitely help you, even if you did well on that particular part of the assignment. So I would like you to watch that review video. And then I also have a review video here where I explain the demand versus quantity demanded. There was a question on the assignment that dealt with this. And, for example, it had you explain the relationship between demand and quantity demanded, how a change in quantity demanded is depicted on the graph, and what affects that, what creates that change, and then how a change in demand is depicted on a graph and the variables that cause that. So that's what I'll explain in that video here that I posted on the announcements page. Again, even those of you that did well on that particular question on the assignment would still probably benefit from watching this video. So I would really like you to watch that, because the basic idea of demand and supply, those basic laws of economics, are going to be a framework where we're going to build on our knowledge as we go through the semester. So the more that you have a grasp of the basic idea of markets and demand and supply, the better off you're going to be later on when we talk about more complex concepts during this semester. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Let me know if you have questions about that after you watch the videos. If you still have questions, just let me know. I just thought that those demonstration videos or those review videos would help you to kind of get a better understanding of what I was looking for on the assignment. All right. Like I said, most of you did well. There were a few of you that didn't put your name on the assignment, so I counted a few points off for that. Keep in mind that I do print your assignments off, and so if your name's not on there, then that's a problem. So make sure that you put your name on your assignment. On the first assignment that we had at the very beginning of the semester, I didn't count points off. I just kind of reminded you, hey, you need to go ahead and put your name on the assignment. But starting with this particular assignment, I did count a few points off for that, just to kind of remind you that you really need to put your name on your assignment. Okay. One other thing I need to remind you of is make sure that you're using your own words, doing your own work on the assignments. I did notice a few of you are relying way too much on AI and other online sources instead of actually using the information from the assigned sources. and putting it into your own words. Just make sure that when you submit something, whether it's an assignment or a discussion post, make sure that it's your own words, that you're actually doing the work yourself. Okay, and most of you are, but there are a few of you that probably need to focus on that just a little bit more. Okay. All right. So on the assignment, just let me know if you have any questions about that. I really appreciate those of you that are really putting the time and effort in on the assignments, and most of you are, so keep up the good work on that. The discussion that we had for chapters 3 and 4 that dealt with the market for professional basketball, I thought that went very well. You were able to kind of see both the supply and the demand side of for professional basketball, especially basketball players. So I thought that went very well. Really appreciate everyone's participation on the discussion. So keep up the good work on that as well. On the chapters 3 and 4 objective test or chapter test, most of you did well on that. Just as a reminder, you can take those tests as many times as you want to up until the due date. So if you don't do well on your first attempt, you can always take it again and take it again as many times as you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. Okay? All right. Now, one other thing I need to go over today is I'm gonna tell you a little bit about our next set of activities. So if we go to the activities page in my Ozarka, right now we are on the end of week 4 of this semester. Okay? So we've got one more day in week 4. There's nothing else due this week. Of course, we had work due earlier this week. So our next set of activities for chapters 5 and 6 are due early next week, specifically Tuesday, February 10th. So you've still got a few days to work on these. Hopefully you've already gotten started on those. But chapter 5 deals with the elasticity of demand and supply. So in chapter 4, we talked about the basic law of supply and demand. But that doesn't tell us enough, especially in microeconomics. We need to understand how much, for example, quantity demanded is going to decrease when we increase price, or how much quantity supplied is going to increase when we decrease price. Increase price. As we increase price, quantity supplied will go up, but we don't know, we haven't really talked about how much. And so in chapter 5, we're going to talk about how responsive consumers are and producers are to changes in price. Okay? We know, for example, by the law of demand and supply, we know, for example, with the law of demand, that there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. We also know on the supply side that there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. But in chapter 5, we're going to get a little bit more in detail and talk about how much the quantity demanded and quantity supplied changes as price changes. And there are several determining factors there, and we'll talk about a lot of those in chapter 5. Okay? In fact, the discussion that we'll have for chapters 5 and 6 will closely be tied to elasticity of demand. So you'll get a chance to kind of look at a real-world situation as far as elasticity of demand goes, and kind of comment on that and kind of learn about how it actually is applied to a real-world market. Okay? All right. So that's chapter 5, is elasticity of demand. And then chapter 6, we'll look at government policies and welfare economics. Okay? All right? So that's chapters 5 and 6. And so just make sure that as you're working on chapters 5 and 6 assignment and the other activities for chapters 5 and 6, remember the resources that you have. You have your textbook, obviously. You have the PowerPoint slides that are posted down here under additional resources on the assignment page. You've also got the videos These are really good videos that really do a really good job of explaining the concepts that are presented in the chapter. So hopefully you're already using those resources effectively, but if you're not, please use those resources. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you to understand the concepts and help you to be able to do the assignment and the discussion and so forth. All right? So be working on those activities for chapters 5 and 6. And again, they are due by Tuesday of next week, which is February 10th. Let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to be really nice weather this weekend, which is a change from what we've had here recently. So hopefully everybody has a chance to get out and enjoy it. And I will talk to you next time. Thank you.